We will call to order the Lincoln City Council regular meeting. Today is Thursday, January 9th, 2025, and it is 6 p.m. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, Pastor Nelson is not in attendance. We will go on to roll call. Landis.
Here.
Marvia. Here. Davis. Here. Bernstein.
Here.
Mayor Brooklyn. Here. Next on the agenda is the agenda approval.
I'll make a motion to approve our agenda.
Motion by Councilwoman Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Bernstein. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And so moved. Item number 6 is public comment. This is an opportunity for you to come to the podium if you have any comments. Second call for public comment. Third and final call. Seeing none, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have minutes from December 12th special meeting and minutes from December 19th.
I'll make a motion to approve our consent agenda for 12/12/24 special meeting and 12/19/24 minutes.
We have a first. Is there a second?
I second.
Second. So first by Councilman Davis, second by Councilman Octavio. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? So moved. We'll carry on to old business. Item number 8 is the overview of the proposed maintenance agreement and franchise agreement.
Good evening. Paul Pitter with Capital Electric. I saw most of you last week, a couple weeks ago. I just wanted to touch base. To see if you had any additional questions. I was so riveted last time with your questions that I forgot to really point out one of the potential, what you would call maybe a gotcha if you aren't aware of it, and I want to bring that to your attention tonight. One of the areas of the streetlight maintenance agreements that I failed to specifically point out to the City Commission on the December 9th meeting is that the streetlight maintenance agreement does not cover the cost of the repair or replacement of poles or the underground secondary wires. So we are basically, I mean, it's $3 a pole or light to maintain and so forth. But any, I know that the city's intending, my understanding is to provide pole, store a pole, the concrete pole that matches and install it. So that service of installing it, our labor and equipment or whatever is needed would be an additional cost that we would bill the city for. But more importantly, it's the secondary, the wires that go and sometimes are broken. In the area that Capital Electric has their wood poles, we've found that is really where some of the cost comes in because in the city, that area of the city, in order to not disrupt driveways and lawns and everything else, we have to pay someone to bore in the ground, and which can be pretty expensive. Now, in the area that we're talking about, with the new area of Lincoln, I think there's less of that. First of all, the wires could be brand new. Second of all, I think there's more boulevard area and such where these are in, so you're not going to have quite the same potential hazards that are going to occur. But there is a possibility where we might have a $3,500 bill or something like that comes at a certain point because that's not included in the contract. And I think the mayor and staff were familiar with that, but I thought I wouldn't want the city council to say, why are we seeing a bill like this when we have an agreement out there? And so that's really what I wanted to point out that I feel like should be said. So there's no unknowns and so forth out there. I'd be happy to answer any other questions. I know, Monty's still working on some things with the streetlight contract and so forth and that sort of thing, but be happy to answer any questions that you have all the time where it's right for both of us to have an agreement. We do look forward to that. We think it's a good plan for both the franchise agreement as well as the light agreement. So.
Council, any questions?
I have a couple questions. So I want to understand, and it's probably not fair, you don't have a copy of it.
It's okay, I forgot my pad folio, so I'm
You know, that's the ordinance. This is the agreement,
I
but
probably read it enough times, Monty.
the, and you were just talking about this, but I want to make sure I understand. Under paragraph 3, does the service covered include repair and replacement of the light fixture and the photocell? And both of those items are defined in the agreement, so I understand that, but when the agreement talks about repair and replacement, what I have in mind is the photocell piece of physical equipment stops working and a new one needs to be put in. Is the service agreement that the city pays for that piece of equipment and you do the installation, or are you paying for the piece of equipment and the installation?
My recollection was that the city would stock the material items, including the photocell and the bulb, and we would pick them up and do the actual installation of it, but they would provide it to us.
So the idea is that Capital Electric is truly just a service contract, not a materials contract.
Correct. We wouldn't own or have purchased any of those items on there, but we've done the work to clear it up and the buckets and so forth.
Okay. I think that we might need to tweak some of the language just a little bit on that.
Yeah.
I had that question. And then the agreement talks about a web form. Do you have that technology in place, or are we going to have to figure out how to get that up and running on the city's webpage? Or
We originally, I think, talked that it would probably work best for the city to have that in place. I think the city thought that they had the right internet provider or help to be able to establish that. We certainly can do it as well, but we feel like coming through the city first, and at the same time we would get an email as a result of that. We felt, I think, as a group, that it would work well from the city to have it initiated. So residents are going to the city website because it's the city's light. It's both of our lights, because it's going to be for both.
yeah, I'm just wondering about the actual setting up that. I agree that it should be on the city's website, but the actual module, just beyond my technical ability, but I'm assuming that the city will have to have a link, a clickable form, and with all of this spelled out and then automated process. Is that something that Capital Electric has for us, or is that something we're going to have to develop with our web?
We don't have the site, we wouldn't have anything to build on the city's site.
Right.
So it would have to be built via the city's internet provider and so forth. I thought there was some thought that would work.
We're with that new website that we're getting, that is an option for a fill-in form. And it would be, we just need to get to getting that out there.
And if there's a time lag that we want to get started and so forth, we can create one and temporarily use it.
I was just wondering if you already had like the tech for this already developed.
We have the tech, but it's on our site. I don't think it's transferable.
And we certainly would want our residents on our end of it, reporting it, not going to your website, because it is still our the city's.
So I have a couple of things that I need to visit with Greg and Terry about, but I've been through the agreement, and as I mentioned to you, I want to look at the identification language and the choose language just to make sure that they're within the recommendation. The Office of Management Budget has some recommendations on public entity contracts. And then the only other term that I think we might have to tweak a little bit is, I don't know that any city council can enter into a service agreement. This sets to set up in perpetuity with a cancellation clause, but they might have to set this up as a biennium or yearly, but I have to look at that. So, but I don't see any major issues with it. And what I'll do is I'll meet with them and then I'll CC something to you with the exact element. That acceptable?
That sounds great.
And I did have a question. You have talked about construction of lines. With the board. So now since on the newer area is going to allow for the boulevards, will you go directly into those spots or will you still be boarding?
Well, we think in many cases, the wire's only 2 feet down. Wherever you get a store voltage wire. And we think that in many cases, we can just dig it out by hand and fix it. So it'd be a lot less expensive. Some of the other ones have some of the older ones have older wire. It's hard to get to based on fences and other things. And we just, in many cases, without tearing up the street, we've had to go underneath everything. And it's expensive to do. And that's part of why your bill for the capital electric lights is where it's at, is because we have to order those to fix the ones that they're in town.
So what happens when you're transitioning, and maybe you covered this up with last meeting, the transition from the wood to cement? The cost wise, because you'll have to go through and change out the wires at that point, won't you?
You mean when the city decides they're going to put in
The cement.
the
as
cement
we're
poles?
going.
Yes, we would have to. We would probably bore it, but we would be doing it in. It's not like they have to bring their equipment and do one at a time. We would do the street. I think was the idea is if you're going to do the area, we would just go behind you and take the least cost route in terms of what we can do without tearing stuff up, but also in the mass.
So we still wouldn't get charged for each individual one, it would be one time, Sean.
That'd be the idea. Yes.
Thank you.
If there aren't any more questions about the service agreement, I have some questions about the franchise agreement. Sure. Section 8. Maybe for a question for Monty, but would it be beneficial to add utility units? That paragraph?
Where specifically,
Section 8, page 3 of the
right in the second part of that paragraph itself, right?
yes, in the first one.
I'm sorry,
Page 3, section 8, the first.
question is whether or not it makes sense to grant a utility easement.
To add utility easements to that.
So, do you mind if I take a swing at this one first? My understanding is that the this infrastructure would be within the existing city right of way. It's controlled by the city, and so we wouldn't want to extend an easement to Capital Electric. The city would want to continue to control its dedicated public right of ways and then give Capital Electric and any of the other utilities permission to access those. That's how I would think that would make sense.
On a more prescriptive basis.
On what?
More prescriptive basis as needed.
As they would make Apple. Well, first of all, the infrastructure is already in place now in those right of ways, so that's why I think this is representing. But as to the new areas where we're building out, it would make requests to use the dedicated public right of ways and continue to have control over those. Does that make sense?
And then on section 10, it says the rates. I assume that electrical rates charging for electricity. It's more definitive language in there, which is just rates.
I'm not sure I understand the
Oh,
question.
like where it says the rates to be charged. I would assume that it's rates for the charging of electricity, but yeah, it's kind of ambiguous. Then again, on section 12, towards the bottom where it says that it is the intent of this section to provide that the city shall not be required to commit local funds to relocation or removal costs to grant these facilities. Is it any benefit to the city to prove it is the intent, but just definitively say the city shall not be required to commit local funds?
You said on page 3, section 12.
Yes, towards the bottom. Last sentence.
Sorry, your suggested language leave.
I'm asking the question if it would be any benefit or better for the city to remove it is the intent of this section, but rather just definitively say that the city shall not be required to commit local funds to relocation grantees facilities.
Yeah, we certainly can look at that, but I really the intent language is just really trying to define the term that comes before that. I can look at that and certainly make some adjustments. I don't think it changes the meaning of the phrase. So
Thank
if you
you.
have some of those that you want me to look at, could you email them?
Yes.
Be helpful.
Okay.
I don't think it would change. I don't think we could pick up from where we're at.
All right. Anything else? All right,
Thank
thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
And I don't know, do we usually work in absolutes? Yes.
Well, we'll take a look at it. I don't want to commit to a position until I see the context of the whole thing and the whole community. But I don't think it's a change. Thing we want to avoid is something in the agreement that would commit the city to some expenditure in the future. As we went round and round with the developers agreement 9-10 weeks ago, I don't think the city can do that on this council probably can't agree that they're going to spend funds for some future event. But I also don't want to be committed to do that. But any language that doesn't commit us is probably acceptable. But you're right, there might be a way to say it more clearly. So if you could send me that, we'll look at it.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is number 9, parking ticket ordinance.
We've noted that's mine. We're working on the revision to the winter parking for trailers. And our proposed solution to that is, if you recall the ordinance, it has a listing of very specific types of trailers, and then it includes an all-encompassing definition of trailer at the end. So as we talked about at the last meeting, our proposal, the simple solution is to simply eliminate that. But the council had discussed that it does not want to impede service trailers. So that, the idea is if you're having your bathroom remodeled and the service trailer is parked in front of your house for 3 days or a week or whatever it takes for them to do that work, we want to exclude that, but at the same time, we don't want somebody parking and not moving the service trailer in front of their house for the winter. And so we've looked at some of the other municipalities and how they've addressed that, and we've set up an idea that a working service trailer could be parked for a particular length of time, and that if you need the trailer to be there longer than whatever, and that's one of the things I'd like some input from you on. But let's say you said a service trailer, you define service trailer and say it can be parked on the street for a week, say, while it's work being performed. But we also want to have a mechanism for that contractor to be able to come to the city and say, look, I need more than a week, so I want to apply to have my service trailer be in front of this house or this location for 2 weeks or whatever it is. And that's what makes sense to us. But before it's a new section of code, and then we've got to figure out how to get it into the code, and then we're going to have to work with the auditor and create the permit process. Before we did all that, I wanted to have a conversation with the council. sense.
I think that makes perfect sense.
And as far as length, and I know that the chief isn't here, but as far as length of time, what are your thoughts as to how long we will build in the statute, right, before they have to kind of get permission?
I guess my opinion on it is there's already an ordinance that people have different hours. I guess my thought would be just to keep it at that, and then if they have any expectation that they're gonna be parked there for longer than 2 days, that they can contact the city for a program or something along those lines. That's something that has a different opinion.
That certainly would dovetail nice with the rest of the ordinance.
Yes.
What about the resetting the timeline of somebody parks their trailer, and then it takes your snowmobile trailer, puts Joe's plumbing on the side of it, they park it there for 2 days, then they remove it for 2 days, and then bring it back in 2 days. How do we validate what's actually going on?
I don't have a solution to that particular problem off the top of my head, but I think that we'll deal with it with the definition so that putting a sign on the side of a snowmobile trailer or a camper won't suffice, but to some extent, I mean, we might have to use different tools, but I don't know that this is a burning problem in the city. I mean, I think we need to have something in place, and then if we have some very clever residents who are causing problems and we think it's worthwhile, then we come back, and that's the nice thing about you guys having control of your ordinances, we can tweak the ordinances there, but I think as a general fix to what, I mean, this is, I think demonstrates sometimes what the issue is with ordinance changes, is you start to change one thing and then you're like, well, we should change this, and then what about, and so I want to keep this simple to let's eliminate the problem that we started with, which is, a definition that prohibits all trailers in the winter. Let's get that fixed. Let's set up something for service trailers, and then if we continue to have problems, we can come back and have another solution.
So the way the ordinance is written, my belief is that we plan on keeping those more descriptive trailers listed and just read trailer at the end.
Yeah.
Which that would still eliminate snowmobile trailers, boats, campers, etc. So somebody wouldn't be able to just slap a business name on that as a snowmobile trailer. I know it's just an example, but I think that would still help though minimize the risk of something like that happening.
Definitely good start.
And we will work on a definition of service trailer and at least 48-hour window to start with, and that far and how to get a permit.
We will carry on to new business. Number 10, Attorney General opinion regarding the 2022 executive meeting. Attorney Rockaby, give us an update.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you were all aware that in April 2022, the city had a meeting. They went into executive session for the purposes of attorney consultation. It was a citizen request for an opinion. Attorney General found that the city had violated the open meeting requirements by not properly listing the executive session. And the Attorney General found that the stated purpose for the executive session was attorney consultation did not meet the requirement for an actual attorney consultation issue. I think it was a closer call than the opinion sets out, but the Attorney General has decided to say. So the Attorney General had recommended a remedy which included providing the citizen with an audio transcript, which my understanding was been placed on the web page. So that's available to the citizens. And I visited with Schmeigel, and I believe you are satisfied with having access to the audio recording. The Attorney General also indicated that if she wanted that the city to have a transcript, which I would prefer not have to do because we haven't probably hired for transcriptions to do this along with lots of different places. I don't think so. We can sit down and just type it out. So So that's taken care of. The notice had to be redone and that's been taken care of. And then the other thing that the Attorney General directed was that the city should produce minutes from that executive session. The understanding is the auditor has produced minutes or created minutes. And the auditor, I'm sorry, Tammy. My recommendation is that the council should approve those minutes, just like they would for a regular meeting. So I think that would be before you do that tonight, or you shouldn't want to look at the minutes of this instead of the audio. But I don't think we have official minutes.
May I interject a question? Where is this audio made available?
It's on the City of Lincoln website under the council, that's a board, right, Tammy, and then it's council.
Agenda and minutes, and then for the year of 2022. Listed as 4/7/22 executive session audio.
So same function as like in previous minutes and stuff. I mean, okay.
I'd like to bring some suggestions to the next meeting regarding the minutes, so this is the audio last thing.
I would like to listen to that as well.
One suggestion I have right away is, most of our minutes have the council people's names.
In the recording, it did not give names.
I was just looking at other minutes for just council meetings. I don't know if they're required for executive sessions. You should be on the minutes or not.
Only if they're motions and there were motions made.
There isn't a lot of legal guidance as to how specific minutes need to be. This was kind of a conversation council had a few months ago. The requirement would be who's here, who makes a motion, who seconds it, vote on each item, what you're voting on, but you're not going to just keep a running summary of conversation about the discussion or who said what. That's none of that is required by the law. It's really of practice. I think it's like the error the city has decided to err on the side of being more inclusive in students.
Along with that, attorney and council members, mayor, listening to the recordings really does help, especially when we follow our Robert's rules and announce who we are speaking to and what we're speaking on, can definitely as well help us retain that information on what is being said. So just remember, council and members, the Robert's rules, when we talk, we need to address each other, like council members, mayor, attorney, auditor, so that when we are listening back, we then, as well as the audience, can understand who is speaking and what is being said.
That's wonderful. Thank you for pointing that out.
So with that, I do want to listen to it because I have not.
But that is specific and case in point. We have a recording that we don't have who is speaking unless you know voices. All right, so then we'll bring that back at the next meeting on the January 23rd, I believe. Next on the agenda, number 11, Mountain Plains Engineering Report.
Members, so for the report for December, we had the regular meetings and that the planning and zoning board meeting canceled. Application reviews. We do have a pre-plat application that's sent in for a small development just to the southeast of Lincoln on 48th Avenue. So it's just you're just looking to do a few roll mods in that. So that's a property they have. So that we'll meet on that next week, just kind of go through some of the requirements and information that they would need to follow for the city and county. And see if they want to pursue this and turn it into an actual plat. If they do, then it'll go through the sketch plat process and so on. No other sketch plats at this time or preliminary plats, final plat. We've got Rich Edition and Rich Second Edition. The developer has been able to provide the current or updated title opinions for the property. So we'll be moving that forward here this month to plan and zoning for review of the final plan. Moving down to utility plan reviews and for Echo's Edge, water main design is finalized and allow the developer there to build that this next spring. Projects in process, water reservoir, water main project. As kind of mentioned at the last meeting, and construction work is complete and the project is closed out. I just want to know that they're responsible for any warranty items that should arrive to next year. Preload is completed their work. Final walkthrough has been completed on December 30th. And they've got a few punch list items to work on, and they should be with that by the beginning of February. So again, after that, they'll be responsible for the work as well. So with that, we would recommend a motion to approve pay application number 9 for preload and the invoice for engineering is presented in the packets.
Will there still be another application after this or
there will be one more.
I'll make a motion to approve the pay application number 9 for Preload LLC and then the invoice for more engineering as presented.
We have a first, Councilman Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Councilman Dornstedt. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And if we can get the roll, please. Dornstedt?
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Artavia,
Yes.
and Schumacher.
Yes.
The Central Sewer Regionalization Project. A lot of the information is still totally the same, but we did have some movement here with the putting in the through their review of plans. So they had a few minor comments that they give back the SEH and they're looking at making those updates. So it should be fairly quick turnaround on their part. Going to have a meeting with the DEQ as well, just to go through everything. Sure, everything's covered. That's the project. So that's in a good spot. We've been trying to get something set up with FEMA and finally been able to do that. We'll be meeting with FEMA and the Department of Emergency Services next Wednesday. I believe it is to go through any questions that they have, meaning if they need any other information from certain CDH in order to hopefully wrap everything up. So then as soon as they got their final approval, their final approval to then these permits.
Is this the group from Colorado?
Yes.
So are they coming on site again?
No, I didn't just, my understanding is just going to be a team essentially. With that, any other questions regarding this project?
With that, we'll carry on to portfolios. First, the Councilwoman Hughes.
So for the office, we have lost Kim in our office. We do have the position posted already. So if you know somebody that is interested in an office position, definitely, send them our way. It is, again, like I said, posted online. You can also call the city too and reach out for, more information on that one. Office has done payables and has done their normal work ×2 now, since we are down one person. And then our auditor is also sending in the last stuff for, the audit. And that's all I have.
All right, Councilwoman Artavia.
So, unfortunately, I have to report that Officer Belgard has left the PD. He's gotten another job that was slightly higher pay and different hours. So we do have an opening right now in PD. So if anybody knows of anyone or is interested, we would invite people to apply for that position. And then also the Lincoln Police Department has come out with their 2024 annual report, which can be seen and received by contacting the police department. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I don't know. Chief, did you want to read anything from your?
If you want me to, I can.
I would love it.
Okay.
Anything that you feel that you want to share with us.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. You guys have the report in front of you, but start out with our overall annual call summary. So 2024 year to date. We ran the most calls in the history of the department. This year we want to round it out with 880 calls for service, 160 calls for the city of Lincoln. Monthly run summary, December, we responded to 14 calls, 6 of the 14 calls were for emergency responses. 11 were rescue EMS, 1 good intent, and 2 false alarm false calls. This month, the average response time was 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Just quickly in department news, we're continuing to work on our station 2 on the north side of Bismarck. We ran into a few little hiccups over the holidays, so we're still waiting to get that in close, but hopefully that should be done within the next week to 2 weeks. We're still looking at our current station that is there. We're looking at still going to put that on an online auction. So if anybody that's interested in buying a building, that building will get tore down and it will be part of the project and stuff like that. But that will be going on an online auction, can be viewed in the near future.
Is that the one on Highway 10?
No, that's one up on 6909 Road, but no. So we have that building up there. That's where we're currently operating out of. It's the old South Central Regional Water Building that we kind of, for lack of better terms, morphed into a fire station, but really was not a fire station. So with the ARPA funds, we're able to actually build a station that is build an actual fire station that can support staffing in the future. The nice thing about once the station goes online, my next big challenge will be to figure out how to staff it. But once that gets done, that will allow my crews that are on Highway 10, unless we have multiple calls up on the north side of town, remain on the south side of town, which means that we have less issues of us not, time frame responding to calls to Lincoln. We should always have a crew on the south side that should be able to respond to Lincoln and stuff in the future, hopefully. So we completed our hiring process. We brought on 8 new part-time firefighters effective January 1. They will be going through a 15-week training program that we like an in-house probie training program, and then also we started firefighter 1 after that, but we did bring them on effective January 1. So it's nice to get some more staff on, and we're moving closer to having our part-time firefighters, those fully staffed, but it kind of seems like they just need everything else. People's lives change and gain some and lose some all the time, but trying to work towards getting that fully done. We did our pre-construction meeting on our new fire engine, and we're hopefully going to see that hopefully sometime in August. And when we do, maybe it'll be here for Lincoln Days and stuff like that. We can turn that over and kind of show it off. It's gonna be quite nice to have a new fire engine and stuff like that. If not, we'll always bring it up for council. We'll take a look at it and stuff. So. We're looking at our handbook and stuff like that, going through that and SOG changes. And then our board did approve wage increases for the firefighters over there, both part-time and full-time. For department training in December, we did our annual ice rescue certification. January, coming up here next week, Tuesday, we'll be doing SCBA confidence drills. It gives firefighters time in their SCBAs. So they're comfortable and proficient when operating in low visibility or zero visibility environments. No additional training for the month, and then we did attend the Lincoln Elementary Santa visit that Lincoln PTO, I believe, sponsored at Lincoln Elementary right before they went on Christmas vacation. Planning and zoning for December, there was no meeting as was canceled, so I did not attend that. And then fire prevention tips, just make sure carbon monoxide detectors are in good working order, and then be careful when running vehicles near the garage or in the garage, because that can lead to carbon monoxide leaking into your structures. And we always see an uptick carbon monoxide calls with cold weather. We had quite a few of them this last week when the temperatures were extremely cold, so just kind of be aware of that. Unless there's any question, that's what I have.
I have one question.
Yes.
Could you tell me what a good intent call is?
So good intent is something where, and I can look more into it for you, but good intent is basically we get a call for service and we go and there's basically something there, but nothing that is of any, of any significance. Like they were in good faith, somebody made a call and it wasn't there. They thought there was an emergency. It wasn't. We responded. We checked, make sure that there was no issue to make sure that they were safe. And then about the end of it. So went, responded, nothing found. But the call was made in good intent where if you go to like the false alarm, false calls, those are like fire alarms that go off where there is nothing and stuff like that. So
When the house alarm goes off, the new fridge go off.
yeah, cooking incidents, all those fun things.
Well, I do have one thing too.
Yes.
You had made reference to the new fire truck for Lincoln Days. I know that you're pretty active with that. Do you want to plug in the date? To share the date for Lincoln Day?
Oh, I can. Lincoln Days will actually be, since I'm on the Lincoln Events Committee, will be August 15th through the 17th. And I think it will be going on the website eventually once the new website goes up. But that is the date that the Lincoln Events Committee has chosen for this year for that. So we're planning on the Lincoln Events Committee, we're planning on having a little bit bigger I don't know what's right for it, but a little bit more stuff going on. We didn't have quite as much time prepared this year as we wanted. So there's going to be more things for citizens to do this year. We're gonna hopefully have some vendor shows, the Touch a Truck. I think is going to be bigger than it was last year. We're gonna have more stuff. We weren't able to facilitate quite as many as we wanted to last year just because of time frame and it's always summertime, so trying to pull people together with all the summer activities and stuff that are going on, the more time and notice that they have is better. So we're looking at it being a little bit, like I said, bigger event this year and stuff like that. And along with that, our Firefighters Association of the Fire Department is also looking at teaming up and working with the Lincoln Events Committee and becoming part of that event possibly and not doing our own event like we have in the past with Lincoln, but there'll be more to come on that because that's with the Firefighters Association, not really important. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Next, we have Councilman Johnson.
So as the city engineer kind of touched base, the new water tower is up and running. They're running some field tests and stuff like that here a couple weeks ago when I stopped in the office. So everything is good there. We have a new employee in public works and everything is approved and started with him. And then they've just been working on some maintenance on the equipment.
We're also looking for 2 people.
Looking for more people to add on.
Right, Councilman Schuman.
Well, there was a tree board meeting right before the last council meeting. To make that one, there has not been one since then, so I will be attending the next tree board meeting, as well as working with Mayor Britman, working with the EDC committee on developing a logo for the city, and more to come.
Perfect. Under my portfolio, just to let you know that North Dakota League of Cities, has their annual If I Were Mayor contest, essay contest, so I will be providing that information to this actually, Deputy Auditor will be sending the information over to the schools. I'll be going and visiting with the students to go over that, and just so everybody out there, those of you that might be homeschooling third graders, this is for 3rd and 7th graders. If you'd like some information, you can contact the city for that. The deadline is going to be, I believe, March 14th of 2025. One of the things that I neglected to do in October, when our auditor finished her certification within that 1-year period, is come to council and request her salary increase. I apologize for that, and but I would like to ask for that tonight to become effective January 1st at 3%. And just as a reminder, she did not get a raise when we went through the budget process, because it was anticipated that this would be coming. So she did receive the cost of living, but nothing on top of that. So her only raise was that cost of living.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 3% raise for our auditor.
But first by Councilwoman Davis,
I'll second.
second by Councilman Shoemaker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Can we get a vote?
Ernst,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Antonio,
Yes.
Schumaker.
Yes.
Thank you. I also would appreciate council's approval of doing a quarterly newsletter. I know that we had talked and all of the things that are going on with the city, so much of it isn't getting relayed to the residents of the city. Some people do go online, some people don't. I think it's a privilege at this point because of staffing in the office to go to a monthly, but I would like a quarterly update to be part of the meeting. Currently, if someone wants to have an insert, they pay the city to do it, so I think this is a service that we could do for the individuals.
This would be something that the office staff would.
I would hope that it would be a community involvement. I think adding an additional duty to them at this time. Really hard to do. I would be happy to spearhead it unless somebody else at the table would want to do it. It could be, you know, a joint effort. If there's someone in the community that would be available to help out with that also. But, what that would entail, you know, is going to necessarily be, would have to be a council decision as far as, you know, what I foresee is community events that are going on, the projects that the city, you know, we can talk about capital electric, we can talk sewer regionalization, the water projects. Any agreements that are, you know, talked about, just very high level. You know, these are the things that are being discussed at the council level, just to keep everybody abreast of things going on.
I don't really have any experience with newsletters myself, but if somebody wants to go for that, that's.
I agree. I think it's a really good idea for us to be able to try and keep as much communication open with the community as possible. And I like it.
Berlin, how are these newsletters sent out? Do they look at water bills? Were they just online or how are they?
Currently, the monthly newsletter, when generated, has been online. But, we just have an opportunity to share with more people if we include it in the mailing.
We've added it, excuse me, Mayor, Council, we've added it before, correct, into the.
It was monthly. Previously, and then it was decided to go strictly to online.
There's currently. They have a mailing list. There's ones that we mail individuals that they assign up to the mailing list, and then it's posted on the online and posted on the phone app and options like that. But yes, they have to sign up for it. They wanted to get an individual mailing public.
Thank you, Deputy Auditor.
And this is, my understanding is currently a cost of $75 to have this included in the mailing, which I think is a minimum expense. This for the benefit of those that want to. But again, it's a council decision. We've got 2 yeses. This one. I don't know that it needs to be a motion or anything, but just so everybody's on board with the information. As the mailing.
Yes, I don't know. Transparency is very important to get in the community more involved.
All right, well, maybe we'll start with quarterly and see where that goes.
I think so, that's a great idea, and if any of us too have anything to add, we could always bring it into the office too and help them out.
And it is, so even any business in town, any organization, if you have things that you want to get out, you know, as always, contacting the city, but then also it could be part of this mailing, so reach me with you more people.
Maybe with that Boy Scout information or Boy Scout information.
East Lutheran, they have their German meal, we have Lincoln Days and possibilities for serving the community, different positions, so.
Mayor Bergman, this would be a task taken on by the entire council, not just one person, is that correct? We all contribute to it, or how would this be structured?
If, would you like to take that on? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not familiar with a lot of social events. As far as what's going on with council, I can take that on for the second quarter of 2025.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, I'm not familiar with the ones you just mentioned.
Okay. All right, well, if you want to do a council recap, to be included on a quarterly basis or up and coming. Okay, anybody else have anything that they would want to, as far as, and this might be, maybe take a minute to think about it.
Offhand, I don't have anything at this moment, but, yeah, we can definitely see if we can come up with some more ideas to add into it.
Okay, sounds great. And then so, I can then be the repository for it. Unless again, somebody else wants to. Okay. I certainly don't. No? Okay. That being said, we do have employment opportunities. They are on our website. There are positions available on tree board, planning and zoning, board of adjustments, and those are always citizen interest forms. There's some available on the back, but they're also available online. And with that, auditor's report.
I just have a couple of things. I got a call from the Dakota Community Bank, obviously with the rates, changing, the interest on the checking account has gone down. The day she called me, she didn't have exactly what it was gonna go down to, but she thought about 2%, and I have to follow up with that. My second thing is, I got another email today from the auditor's office. I have to get done a few more things. But hopefully they're getting close to, once I get those last 4 items, that they'll be getting that in and move forward. And then she did say that whenever they get this completed for 22 and 23, I had asked that we could do it on a yearly basis, and they said that they could probably tackle that later in the year and start on 2024, because it's just so much stuff that they need, so many inputs, it takes a lot of time. On the second note, I still don't have November statement completed. I will have it done at our next meeting, and I'm hoping to get started on December's. And with that, we're just trying to get some quarterlies done and year-end stuff done and get W-2s done and all of that kind of stuff. I had a gentleman stop in from Rivera Insurance. His name is Scott Danrich. I don't know if anybody knows him. We had a discussion. He wanted to know if I could bring it in front of council, if maybe we would want to do a review of all of our insurance items, because right now we have all of that with Kramer. If it would be approved, if we could do some comparisons. That would be something you guys would be interested in.
And periodic reviews are always.
Definitely seeing what's out there, auditor and knowing what our bases are.
He did tell me that he used to work for North Dakota Turf. So he is very familiar with them, and then we have them, but then we use Kramer for everything else. So he just asked if I would bring this in front of the council and asked if that would be something you guys would be interested in. And then he said if you guys wanted him to get all that done, he could actually come to a council meeting and you guys could meet him and he could discuss what he found, or that'd be great. So that comparables. Okay. Other than that, I don't have a lot. I don't have anything else. We've just been busy in the office, and like I said, again, it's just down to Miss Tammy and I, so patience.
Auditor Wilson, you were referring to Rivera Insurance for insuring all of our equipment, whatever we have insurance coverage for, that's what this.
Yeah, it would be like, so Kramer, all the stuff in the shop, I think basically like they have what they call inland, outland, just everything that the city of Lincoln has with Kramer now. He would do a comparison.
Is there a list of items we had submitted to multiple companies for quotes or bids?
I kind of like to keep it local, and with Rivera being local, I'm sure there's other there's State Farm, there's American Family, there's all kinds of stuff. Nobody's ever reached out. He actually has been in the office twice now.
There's another local insurance company I had in mind, that's what I was asking.
you can do, I mean, I don't have a problem, calling them and just saying, hey,
The reason I was like, came to mind is because years of traffic insurance were, large coverage with $2 to $5 million. I found this one. For example, I remember the name right now to be the most economical. So that's fine.
Is that name you want to share? Yeah, is there or a company name you want to share?
It's Heritage. It's based North Dakota or Western Minnesota. I can email you, probably your most likely email you the contact.
That's what I'm thinking about right now. So I
Get in your face.
Yeah, I think, let me take a look at that, and whether or not insurance coverage would be within certain. First of all, whether you have to or not, it certainly might make sense to open this up to your audit process, right? If you're gonna open it up. But I would say that insurance professional service and probably exempt from the competitive bidding requirements, just because it's professional. It's not necessarily the lowest bid or the lowest cost, because you're also getting professional services and some judgment involved, but if you're going to have a review, it might make sense to have a process just to see. So I don't think there's any harm in getting more information in place.
Okay. So anything else for the good of the work? No? Yeah, then I will close and adjourn at 7:02.